want to welcome you to my little farm. It's not much, but it's home. My name is Rachel, and this is the first time I'm doing anything of this sort on social media. So bear with me, and we'll just get on with it. Currently, I'm filling a pool for my livestock guard dog and my buck goats. I am prominently a goat breeder. Just for me, just to send to the auction. I do sell off my farm, but not very often because it's such a hassle anymore. And I get a pretty decent price through the auctions. As you see in the background, I've got 2 horses and a donkey, and they're just currently helping my bucks eat their pasture because it just got too high and I don't want to mow it. It's just been too hot and too horrible to do that. So I let them in here every now and then just to cut it down a little bit more. Eventually it's going to be cut in half, and instead of having one huge pasture for pretty much one buck goat, I'll have probably 2 or 3, at least 2 here in this pasture. But we can walk around a little bit and I can introduce you to the rest of my, well, a few of the animals here. We've got my full-blooded boar, and he is absolutely such a doll. I couldn't have asked for a better boy. Of course, he's being camera shy right now, but he's full-blooded and registered. We're going to check out the pool. Oh. He's just going to go hide out in the shade for the rest of the afternoon, I'm sure. We've got Lewis here, which I'll show you. Well, other side of the fence. Hi, buddy. I know. Back up. There you go. He is the last of my Nubian bucks, and he is for sale if anybody's interested before he goes to sale. And he's absolutely my poor livestock guard dog. Meet Moby. And that buck has an infatuation with him. I don't know why, but he does. Moby so far, he's a year old. He was just given to me because he wouldn't stay in his owner's property, and he was getting a little destructive with the neighbor's land. So they opted to rehome him, and they offered him to me. So far, he's been good. We're still learning. Chickens are still a play toy with him because he's only a year old. But eventually he'll learn to grow out of that. It just takes time and a little bit of patience with him. But so far he's been good. He's only killed roosters, but I can't complain about that. Even though I'm losing a few dollars here and there when he does. But that's all right. That's just part of the fun of raising puppies. And I didn't want to start with a new one after I lost my Nico. Just a few months ago, actually. And I had him for a little over 10 years. And during those weird weather days that we were having this late spring, early summer, he'd come down with pneumonia and I didn't catch it in time. So that was a hard loss for me. But, and not even a week later, maybe 2, I had my clients that buy chickens from me showed up and had offered him to me, and I absolutely didn't even hesitate taking him in. And then we got Girly, absolute baby. I've had her for probably 12 years now, probably. And unfortunately, she cannot be bred, and that was the reason I bought her. And a pretty sad situation that the previous owners didn't inform me that she would not be able to bear children. I don't know why they didn't let me know on that, but she is such a doll. But she has no udder. All there is a scar, and I was devastated when I realized that. And you know, you buy an animal and you honestly think that they're going to have all the parts to be able to be bred. And unfortunately, she did not. And I'm sure in probably some upcoming videos, I'll probably show you why. But so far, she's just been a guardian to my goats. And plays with the babies and lets them climb all over her. And she's a good girl for the most part. Every now and then, like donkeys, she gets naughty. But that's okay. Huh, girly? And she is broke to ride. At the time, my 10 and 12-year-old daughter broke her and got her rideable with saddle and everything else. And by trade, I'm a horse trainer. But after my divorce, I decided that I just needed to back away a little bit from my life and reflect on what I really want in my life. And now I have 2 horses. My Callista Dawn, she's grouchy. Like most mares, she's grouchy. And of course the attention hog. Hi, girly. She thinks she needs to protect me when I'm out in the pasture. But Callista is paint. Her sire was, oh, what was his name? Doc Barr is part of it. And unfortunately, I have not been able to find the copy of her sire's papers or the sale receipt that has all her information on it, but it's okay. And I've had her since she was 6 months old. Broke to ride, not that she's got many miles on her. You know, because being alone, it's kind of hard to work a horse when you're by yourself because of the dangers, which is kind of why I stepped back away from it. And Mr. Smokey here, which is my rideable gelding, and I take him up to the lake sometimes. Huh, buddy? You're a good boy. I rescued him out of a kill pen in Missouri about 8 years ago, about the time I moved into this house, because I'd recently lost my white face gelding in a very tragic drowning accident at a property I was renting. And that was a hard hit. So, and I needed a friend for Callista. And I knew it. She was not really in a good place. I mean, she had the landlord's horses, but I was taking her away from all that. And she's one of those mares that goes into pure panic when one of her mates is not with her. I mean, if that donkey goes into the barn and hides out, that mare is running up and down the pasture in a panic. And I knew with Spirit being gone that it wasn't going to be good for her to come here. So I picked him up probably about a month after I'd moved into this house and after I've gotten all the fences fixed. And they settled in great. He's absolutely couldn't have asked for anything better buying unseen. I saw a picture of him online from an acquaintance that rescues ponies and horses out of the kill pens. And I had no idea any information about him and bought him unseen. brought him home, quarantined him for a month, turned him loose. Haven't had any issues with him since. He's absolutely perfect with my goats, which we'll meet them later. At least the girls anyway. You've met the boys. And I mean, you see the barn, my barn in the background. It needs help, but the horses are the only ones that really use it. The goats during storms sometimes get into it, but there's no lights, no power. And it's really not set up for goats in any way, shape, or form. It's really not set up for anything, honestly. We'll walk through there in a later video. But I better get back over here to this water and get it shut off before it floods the goat's pen. And I raise chickens, got a few ducks. Of course, they're getting up there in age because I don't keep any of the babies. I only keep the 4. The 2 nests they tried to set up this year got ransacked by a couple of raccoons, which is hence the reason why I needed another livestock guard dog. Your pool's about full, dude. Why don't we take this over here? Oh. Of course it would catch on the log. I'll fill these buckets here. Get them going. And this place is absolutely phenomenally set up for goats. Steel gates, shield frames. I mean, I had to re-fence it because they tore down all the fencing trying to get buildings out of here. But that's okay. I was able to put up goat fencing through here. We'll walk over here while that's filling. We'll walk over here to my peacock pen. And we'll meet Miss Talon. Hi, beautiful girl. What are you doing? Huh? Huh? What do you think? They do have a pink bowl in there for their food. But you'll see as my male walks up here. And his name is Amon Ra. Hi, buddy. Which is totally obsessed with me, or they'd be loose in the yard. Miss Talon wanted back in here, so I was like, okay, I'll put you back in here. But Amon Ra is pied, India blue. Absolutely stunning. But he's absolutely obsessed with me. And I mean, stalks me to no end. So I can't allow him out because I don't get anything done when he's stalking me. It's kind of scary. We'll walk over here. And we can introduce you to Miss Willow. Sit. She's my border collie, Catahoula. Of course, you see Twist. That. You guys are nuts. Of course, she's got to stay on a perimeter fence because she likes to kill ducks. They're all excited now because I sat down on the ground next to them. You guys are goofballs. Quit. Twister, you're not as big. Yeah, Twister thinks he's as big as the big dogs. And he acts like it. But man, he does get hurt. The black and white Loki, he was saved when he was 4 weeks old from a gentleman that just wasn't doing good in his life. And if I hadn't rescued that puppy, he would not be here today. And he is absolutely my baby. I mean, he wasn't any bigger than the size of a kitten when I brought him home and got him on goat's milk. And now 5 years later, he is a damn good dog. Excuse my language. But I take him out into the pasture with me, and if my goats get out, he will help me herd them back into the pasture. The Border Collie Catahoula, her nose gets her in trouble. She gets her nose going, and if something catches it, then she's off in a totally different direction than what she needs to go. And that doesn't help herd goats when they're out in the road. Which is fine. She's a good warning dog for, rodents in my peacock's pen or wherever that she may be. But I don't really let her run loose because she kills ducks. And I've tried to let her loose a couple of times, tried to give her that freedom, and she gets into the goat's pen and then chases whatever chicken she can find. Yeah, they're going to be barking for a bit. My neighbor is bringing his cattle water. And and it's a couple times a day they do this. Hey, enough. We're not playing that. Well, that's one way to set a sprinkler off. That's actually pretty funny. Not what I meant for it to do. The red lid is there to keep chickens and babies from drowning in these buckets. That gets heartbreaking when you come out first thing in the morning and you find dead chicks floating that pretended to be ducks but aren't ducks. Turn the water off here. And we can walk. Oh, sorry about my hand. Another one of those fabulous metal gates, which I put this up because babies can actually squeeze through these bars. So I had to find something, and I thought that was cute. And if you hear, a few of them are yelling. Let's see here. No, it's not dinner time, girls. Miss Amelia Rose. She's pushing 8 years old. I got her out of Kansas City. She was actually Nico's daughter. I bred a Great Pyrenees up there when I lived up there for a few months. And she's absolutely just been a doll. I never once tried to escape. But yeah, she definitely thinks she needs to be right next to me or in front of me for that fact. But let's see here. Let's see if we can meet a few. Hi, Emma. Yes, I see you. Let's see here. We've got Neely and her 2023 kid, which I may keep. I haven't completely decided if I'm keeping her yet. But Neely is one of the goats out of my Max Boar line. I originally started in Ohio before I moved out here to Kansas. And we got Nala, which is her daughter from 2 years ago. And she lost her twin bucks this year. They were both stillborn. So I'm not sure what happened. but she's actually putting on weight now and doing really good. And Emma just, Great Pyrenees. Emma, that's pretty gross. Did you have to? Yeah. She drools a lot. That was kind of gross, Emma. Did you have to? Goodness. All right, we'll walk out here a few minutes. Let's see who else we can find. Oh. Here's Miss Eclipse. Hi, baby. She says, nope. I've been having to treat them for bottle jaw and worms this summer because they've just been horrendous. Horrendous. Hot, wet summer. It definitely would be a lot better if it was a lot wetter and I had actual grass in my pasture. I mean, it's enough. And I usually keep a round bale, but my hay guy's truck has recently kind of broke down in his pasture and he has no way to bring one to me. So as soon as he lets me know that his truck is fixed, we'll be getting another bale. And we'll walk over here. Oh, look, this boy here is absolutely... Really, Emma? Really? You're a goober. But we'll see who else we can get. We can get Miss Sugar's buck kid. And she gives me a white kid every year. And you couldn't have asked for better genetics from that full-blooded boar to give really, really nice looking boys. And most of my girls have a little bit of Nubian mixed in with them, which is originally what we started out with. Hi, Shug. As you can tell, Nubian horns. And she's pushing 8 years old now. Something like that. I think she was one that was born in Missouri when I was living over, just moved out to the Midwest. And we'll get to that point. Of course, all the other babies are up here by my garden, which I just recently built. If you're looking for a nice buck kid, whew, that boy right there is massive. Biggest kid I got. And absolutely friendly. I mean, the deposition of that boar buck bred into his kids, and I could not, I could tell you all the time, could not be happier with that. I mean, Emma, I know you like attention. But this boy, he is absolutely just like his dad. Just a sweet, friendly, calm buck. And not many kids. Usually if they're unhandled, they're pretty wild. But most of these have been fairly decent. I mean, I can't say all of them are friendly, but they could be if somebody put some time into them. Let's see if we can get some pictures of the recent ones. Of course, my garden. I keep putting my finger there. I don't know why. I just do. But I pretty much got almost 5 acres here. And it's enough for one person. I think if I had more than that, I think I'd be way overwhelmed with having to do things alone. We'll walk back in here. Hi, pretty girl. I know. Yeah, they've kind of messed the fence up, so these are pallets, actually, from Tractor Supply. And I need to come through and get some of these nails down. Or staples, I guess. But this is the only way I found to keep these goats from trashing the fence. As you can see, they already got it trashed because my Tractor Supply decided to start throwing all of their wood into the dumpster, and I haven't been able to get any this summer. And they happened just to have this laying out when I was there last time, and I was able to grab it. I still have a little bit more to do, and then I'll go through and I'll have to put a post in over there. Quite a bit of stuff to do still. I mean, I've already had to rebuild the chicken coop, and I turned half of the garage into a barn, basically, because the big barn is not appropriate for goats, besides being all the way on the edge of the property. And in the wintertime, I don't want to be running out 200 feet, 300 feet to the barn to check on babies if I have kid babies in the winter, which I don't plan on it, not anytime soon, unless it's by accident. And I try to avoid that by keeping my bucks locked up in a secure pen to avoid any accidental breedings. These are all feeding stations that I've had to recently build, not only for a little bit of shelter and shade in here in this pen because there's no trees here, but that way I make sure everybody gets the same amount of food and nobody gets pushed off. And I do have a couple of cranky goats that will absolutely scarf down their food as fast as they can and then go and start running anybody they can get off of their food. And I started noticing that when a couple of the goats just started losing weight, and I didn't understand why. And then I started watching them after I fed, and I was like, oh, that's what you're doing. But 4 more I haven't gotten covered yet, which I'll eventually finish. I need to build probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 more, at least, depending on how many does or kids I decide to keep. They're still huffing at the neighbor. The neighbor's got to come across the street because there's no water in that pasture and fill up big troughs for his cattle. It is just so dry here in Kansas, and it's so hard. And people are having a hard time. They're having a hard time feeding. They're having a hard time watering. And it's one reason why, my horses are in the buck's pen. Because I don't see a reason why I'm mowing that when I can just let the horses eat it, which makes more sense to me. But unfortunately, that's just the way our weather is right now. And here in southeast Kansas, we are definitely dry as a bone. And even with having a soaker hose in my garden and, trying to water every night, it's just not enough. And then you get the bugs and everything else, and they get on your crop, and you have to spray to keep the bugs off so you at least have a crop. You know, and I'm not one for having pesticides and everything all over my vegetables, but when it goes from being 2 feet high to being this because of bugs, it makes it really hard to have any kind of production of anything. We walk back around here, see if we get some pictures of these babies. Of course, my garden, what's left of it anyway. I forgot to lock the gate one night when I'd gone in there to get some peppers, and the babies decided to make it a fun house to play in for the night. So that's kind of why the garden's trashed. But the bugs in the yard and the drought is definitely really hard. Let me see, what else? Well, I pretty much showed you the majority of it. The house is just an old farmhouse, work in progress. I've gotten the kitchen and the living room tiled. I still have one side room to get tiled, and then the front room, I haven't decided what I'm doing with it yet. The upstairs, for now, it's just storage. Unless, you know, I have my kids that might have to come home for some reason or another. There's always room for them, even if I have to move stuff around. Walk over here, see here's the 4 ducks. Let's see if we can get, they're gonna walk off. They're like, nah, we're good. Of course, you hear the mama hen. Behind me is the chicken coop. And when I moved in here, this whole front wall was only about 4 feet high. The whole wall was gone. And I went in and alone jacked it up. I had these windows were in the barn, and I figured I might as well put them to use rather than letting the goats destroy them. Of course, there's one little accident there, and I'm not sure how that happened, but I'm guessing a chicken or a rooster, when I got a coon in there, hit that glass and shattered it. Another coop, which I never uncovered this year. I just left it covered because it's such a hassle to cover every spring, every fall. And I figured that way they'd at least have shade in there. We'll walk over here. It's my rooster pen. Usually every fall I have a gentleman come in and buy roosters, but last year I ended up with more rooster than he needed and just couldn't get rid of them. So if you're looking for some really nice healthy roosters that have been on corn, none of that processed food, nothing like that, they'll get scraps from my fridge or whatever every now and then, but for the most part they live off of cracked corn. And the guinea's in there because he wanted in there. I have 7 guineas, 6 of them paired off, and he was left alone. And he tried for about 2 weeks to get in that coop, and I was like, okay. I opened the door, and he went right in. No questions asked. I was like, that's where you want to live? You got it, dude. Because he was running around chasing hens. So, which didn't help the situation. Hens don't appreciate that very much. Of course, my garage, well, storage mainly, because my truck's too big to fit in there. And then this side is where I store my hay, my feed room, and my kidding stalls, which I've just built off of free pallet tops. And we can walk in there. It's kind of a disaster because I haven't been in here yet to clean it this summer. It's just been too hot. But I built all these. Of course, my hands have taken up, I don't know if you can see her or not, sitting on eggs in here because I'm not currently using it for baby goats because it's just extremely hot in here. And got another mama with babies. She's only got 3. I've got another hen. I don't know if you can see her. My pencil laced hen is sitting on more eggs. And I'm not sure. This is the pen I use when I have winter babies because I have access in and out of the back pen, which is where my girls are. There's another big room that runs the length of this garage back there that I use, or the goats use for winter time. And it's got lights, kinda. It's got Christmas lights that are up in there, but it's enough light to be able to see if I need to go check on them at night. This is where I usually keep my square bales of hay, which I haven't ordered any yet this year. But I can get 60 to 80 bales in here, depending on the size of the bales. And then we got this pen, which is right next to the house, but it works to feed kids, and that's what those are. Of course, that's what I started out originally, to feed kids, but all my mamas were able to get in there no matter how small I made the little opening. So I cut a little thing in the cattle fence and made this area, and had to block the hole because some of my moms can actually fit through the holes because some of the kids are so big. So, but that actually has worked out really great, just because the sheer fact that I'm able to go in there and touch kids and handle them and tag them and give them their shots without having to chase them around, which works wonderfully. Of course, I've still got, I don't know, 6 girls to tag and 2 boys, 3 boys, including that black and white buck that will be going to the sale here probably in the next month or so. I'm just waiting for a few of the boys to get back up, get up to weight, you know, to be able to get the best money for their weight. Roosters, which are so much fun. But I think that's all, and I haven't decided if I'm editing this or not, or what I'm gonna plan on doing, but being my first video, I figured I'd show you around a little bit, introduce myself and a few of my animals, and we'll go from there and see what comes of the future. I've got a few projects planned as soon as these goats go to sale, so I don't have so many to feed, and you know, you'll be able to follow along. And if you want to get into breeding goats or birds and need a little advice here and there, I've been doing this for probably at least 10 years, if not 12 years with the goats. If your children ask you to get into 4-H and they want to show goats, if you don't plan on falling in love with those goats, don't do it, because they are very addicting. And my kids, my youngest is what, 24, 25 at this point? And I've had goats ever since she was in high school because she wanted to show goats for 4-H, and I absolutely fell in love with them. And I don't know where I would be without them. Definitely not here, and definitely not doing something that I absolutely love. But it's definitely a passion, and they're just, I don't know. But I'll cut off of here and get a few more things done, and I will see you on the next video, and God bless you.